Hello and welcome to DECA. Today we are going to be presenting you an example of a written event. This written event is a community service project that was enacted by DECA, and we're going to show you an example of how you're going to walk through it, and I'll be presenting it to you as if you are the judge, so that way you can judge for yourself and see if our event was worth it. So this event was actually submitted last year during the 2015-2016 cycle. So let's begin. Hi and welcome. Hi, I'm Dragon Chan, and I'm here to present to you today United Worlds, our community service project. So before we begin, let's talk about the problem at hand. So, as of January 23rd, 2015, around 9,000 individuals were homeless in San Diego County. So, most of these individuals are there on the streets due to poverty, unemployment, mental health issues, substance abuse, depression, and family violence, domestic violence, and physical ailments. And all of these were actually stated by the Regional Task Force on the Homeless. As you can see here, the jail and prison status among homeless is actually higher because they're on the streets and they're fighting for their life to survive. Let's take a quick look at that, shall we? So we can see that a large majority of homeless people are actually in jail or oh sorry uh, this is basically the percentage of homeless people that have been in jail. So these are homeless people now, and these are some of the statuses before they became homeless. So when polling among the homeless, we can see that about 40% of them went to jail but not prison. Less than 5% of them went to prison, and both actually 20% went to both. We also have 30% to neither, and we have no response for some others. And we can actually see the infectious disease among homeless adults. They have a very high rate of infection, which means that they live less and they die early. So about 1/3 of the food produced in the world for human consumption every year, so that's maybe around 1.5 billion tons, it gets lost or wasted, and most of this gets lost later on in the supply chain. So what we're trying to do is we're raise awareness among industries, retailers, and consumers to find beneficial uses for the food, so that way we can decrease the amount of losses and waste. And this study was actually analyzed by the United Nations Environmental Program. And to look at the food waste generated, we can actually see the amount of food waste generated in retail and wholesale centers. And these are going and most of the food waste that you're seeing is actually lost towards the end of the cycle, towards the once it hits the grocery sales, the grocery stores, not at the warehouses and all that stuff. And as you can see, only 18% of that food was donated, about 40% was recycled, but nearly half of that food was disposed of. Think about how many people that can feed. And this food is usually thrown out, the day that they're made because of, health policies and because company models to promote freshness and all that. So this is a lot of wasted food. So what is our plan? So the United World's mission is first we want to connect community leaders, businesses, and communities to solve challenging social issues in today's society. We want to raise awareness for many social and environmental issues. We want to unite businesses and charitable organizations together to form beneficial alliances. And we want to benefit the community and businesses, as well as creating opportunity to address common issues and problems. So how does our chain of command work? So this chain of command reflects, the RB DECA and our member listing. And as you can see here, there's so many positions. However, we don't actually have all of them filled. Well, this is not a position. This is not a position list, as more of a list of responsibilities that are taken on by each member of RB DECA. So the United Worlds project is actually led by the board of directors, which consists of the RB DECA Council. This can include community leaders, business members, our teacher, Mr. Steelhead, and a wide more variety of other peoples and community leaders. We also have our Global VP of Logistics, Alan Liang, Global VP of Community Outreach, Valerie Lee, and Global VP of Operations, that's myself, Dragon Chan. And with Alan, we're also the Global VP of Projects. So, in terms of our responsibilities, as you can see here, we work on business support, organization support, distribution, onboarding, community feedback processing, lobbying, marketing, finance, legal, infrastructure, HR, all of that, as well as working on other projects in addition to United Hunger. Yeah, well, we'll elaborate on those projects in a bit. So, what is United Hunger? United Hunger is a project to raise awareness between local food vendors and charitable organizations such as food banks. We want to facilitate transfer of perishable food goods to local charities. And this one of our partners here was Feeding America. So as you can see here, this is sort of the project for of just for this project, as United Hunger is just a project of this. And you can see here, Alan Liang was the leader in this project. Valerie Lee headed the external finances. I managed the finances. Oh, Valerie Lee handled external affairs. Alan handled implementation, and we all directed our members in guiding ourselves to the goal. And we took advice from our advisor, Mr. Ben Steelhead. So the four phases of United Hunger: uh, initiation, preparation, implementation, and evaluation. So to sort of guide yourself, this is sort of like a visual that you can see that reflects on, our commitment and our analysis. So around October, we actually started working on, well, no, sorry, yeah, October we started working on contacting potential partners. We established communications with the new vendors. Then we started implement we so. In terms of communication, we actually went to local farmers markets, grocery stores, bakeries, and local businesses to implement this project. And we started implementing this project towards November, and we actually did this for about a month just to collect the data and analyze the ways we can improve it. Then we prepared that and created an analysis. So we implemented use that to implement other projects as well as collect data for state and seeing how viable this project can continue. So in terms of initiation, we collected data by interviewing local businesses. We went to farmers markets. We utilized information to make those decisions. So we went to, Ralph's, Sprouts, and a whole lot more. And we asked questions like, what is the average shelf life for perishable goods? What do you do with these goods after they were, used? On average, how much of your in-store shipments are you unable to sell? And would you be willing to donate these excess or unsellable foods and goods to a charity organization? And another question we asked them is when we went to the farmers market, we asked a different sort of questionnaire, which was, how long are you able to sell each good for? What can you do with these goods after the market is finished? And what do you deem unsellable? And on average, how much of your product are you ultimately unable to sell? And would you be willing to donate these excess? And we worked with these vendors and partners to figure out, the arrangements and all that involved. And one of the issues we actually figured out was grocery stores already have a similar system in place, as well as bakeries like Panera Bread. But those are because they have large chain organizations that implement these that have like corporate environmental sustainability divisions that manage and organize all of these. Whereas local businesses are unaware of this and they're just there just to make some money on the side. They're not aware of the how they can use that and help their community as well. So this allowed us to retarget our program to more fit towards local businesses rather than chain organizations because chain organizations already have this system in place. And what we can see here is, we did a lot of fundraising and we actually organized a bake sale to prepare and pay for the resources and gas and all that stuff for this project. So with that, we worked with the local vendors at the farmers market to transport food every week, and we recorded the interactions. We actually have this chart. This was for the Escondido farmers market, and we collected all these food items and we took them over to the local food bank and delivered them. In terms of evaluation, we actually learned a lot. So in terms of assets raised, we raised over $300 compared to our original $200 goals. We contacted 5 local businesses. We worked with 2 farmers markets, and in terms overall, it wasn't actually as effective as we had hoped to be because we didn't actually have enough members to make it to these local markets and businesses. So we didn't have that many trips back and forth. And if we did, it would have actually greatly improved the amount of contributions that could have been made. The preparation was actually the most successful. We got more locations to conduct fundraising events. We had a greater variety of goods to appeal to a large audience. And in terms of implementation, we could have worked on getting more participants in the project, and that was actually just our main concern, getting more students to work with these projects. And so with that, we sort of want to shift our focus from being physical carriers to empowering local businesses to take charitable stances within society instead, because we don't quite have this manpower. So rather, we're going to do sort of like a PSA system where we're informing local businesses on how they can improve this and working with them to establish networks on developing this further. So in terms of benefits, our members actually quite learned a lot. And we also learned social and research skills. We learned how to make decisions. We also learned, fundraising, public relations, accounting, budgeting, and we learned in terms of implementation, how to manage our time and develop our social skills. For future plans, we're considering a United Earth, which takes perishable goods, stuff that can't be donated, and use it for compost in community gardens. We also have unicycling, in which we recycle old clothes from high school students, like volunteering shirts and hoodies, uh, by donating to local charities. So this is actually a little poster we made in partnership with our local Key Club. Uh, you know, Unicycling, one cycle, one earth, blah blah blah. Donate. Members of service clubs, volunteers for events receive volunteer t-shirts, hoodies, hats, etc. Anything that we can get, we would take and we would bring them to the shop. And with that, did you have any other questions? So as you can see right there, actually, that was the presentation that Alan and I gave at State, more or less so. I actually cut a bit off and here and there, but that was it. But to elaborate further here, uh, essentially, we discussed, we talked about all these projects. We went and elaborated and analyzed our project from a lot of different senses. We brought in outside facts and just a lot of general information that was useful. And we were, friendly and open to the clients. And if you actually guessed, we actually placed first in state and got moved all the way into internationals. They gave us a $600 travel scholarships to make it to internationals, and that's where we competed and developed ourselves further as students. uh, so with that concludes our this training seminar. Thank you and have a great day.